Hey everyone, we have just come out of the New Zealand premiere for Wonka. It was on a Sunday morning for some reason, and we were on the beds right up close to the screen. So it was a really immersive experience. I'll hand it off to Kyan because this was his number one most anticipated movie. So,
Oh, why are you gonna do me like that?
what do you think of it?
Yeah, it was my number one most anticipated movie, probably because the original was sort of so close to me as a child. I was hoping that the charm of Paul King, and his brilliance in directing would come through and maybe create my sort of dream sequel. Um, and it does things right, but it's unfortunately not the sequel I hoped for.
Right.
It is fairly standard sort of children thoroughfare, well directed, well shot, well composed, all that sort of stuff. Very akin to Mary Poppins Returns by
Yeah.
Disney, starring Emily Blunt. Um, it really, I felt, if I'm gonna just like bear out the sort of three main feelings I have about it, it focuses maybe a bit too much on its musical numbers as opposed to its driving story.
Yep.
And I would say it gets a little bit circular with its storytelling. It says it does the same thing over and over again throughout the film. He encounters an obstacle, and then he tries to fight against that obstacle, and then he encounters it again, and then he tries to fight it, and then so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Until it ends.
Yeah.
There is no sort of branching or interesting narrative directions. It's sort of just a kind of a bit of a circular musical children's movie.
Yeah.
It has charm, but beyond that, I all I can say is that this probably doesn't even reach my top 10 this year.
Yeah.
And it was on my number one most anticipated.
Yeah.
So I took an L.
That's how it goes. Name, what do you
Finally,
think?
I didn't take an L.
Yeah.
Usually I'm the one
Taking the L's.
that gets humbled at the end of the year. Like, oh, okay, cool, yep. But yeah, no, I had the same thoughts as well. I think I was a little bit underwhelming. Sort of got that gauge from the trailers. The trailers weren't exactly that impressive either. So that sort of set my standards for it.
Yeah.
Which was good. I think the musical numbers, they were great. They were like well choreographed and stuff like that, etc., etc. But there was just way too many of them, and most of the songs didn't really serve purpose to the story. It was just more of what they were doing in that scene rather than, something more important.
Yeah.
I think only the last song and I think the first song were really the two ones that actually served purpose to the story. I thought Timothy Chalamet was pretty decent as Wonka.
Yeah.
I think he brought a different take to what we saw with Gene Wilder and Johnny Depp in Willy Wonka and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So we pretty much really got three different distinctive takes on Wonka. And I think Timothy Chalamet did a good job of showing that, I guess, the kind-hearted side,
Yeah.
that ambitious side of Wonka. Because, it's a prequel. It's about him setting up his chocolate factory and stuff like that. Hugh Grant was a bit wasted. Well, not really wasted, but unnecessary.
Not wasted at all.
Yeah, he didn't need to be in the film at all.
Yeah.
Or the Oompa Loompa. I mean, he could have come at the end as like a tease. That would have been
Tease.
fine. But
Yeah.
just his scenes was just why. And the reason why he was haunting Wonka as well was just and just made this up just to fit in Oompa Loompa in the story.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it wasn't that good. Didn't quite reach the heights of Paddington, which the director is well known for.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when you hear that Timothée Chalamet's on for a Wonka movie with Paul King directing, there's something to be excited about there. And, I think we all, because I remember we put it on our 10th for our most anticipated for this year.
Yeah.
And we all believe that there could be something special brewing here and that something interesting could happen. And
The stats pointed to it, but
yeah, everyone's track record kind of, indicated, oh, this could be something really good.
yeah.
And yeah, I think we all bought into that. And it's wrong. I think it is something that it feels like they just did it for the paycheck because this feels like a movie that's made for the masses. Playing it really safe and not taking any risks or anything like that. As for the story itself, I honestly think the story is taking place in the wrong era for Wonka. I would rather the movie have taken place before everything that happened in this film, or even afterward. Like starting the factory itself, or actually him discovering chocolate and all the flavors and stuff. Because I think there's a lot of lore to
I think
explore.
you're right. You know,
Yeah.
I think it would be much more interesting for it to be an adventure film of Wonka discovering the flavors and getting those compounds together to create his magical chocolate.
Because that's like the most interesting stuff in the movie. Like, like
How,
the
like, lightning
flavors.
in a bottle.
Yeah. And I'm like, whoa, okay, I'd love to see how that kind of came about.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't care about him starting a business and establishing himself along in the town and the chocolate mafia having a presence in the film, chocolate cartel, whatever you want to call it. I thought it was all a little bit goofy, a little bit silly. And yeah, the musical numbers, they do feel kind of pointless. Like it just felt like it was relying too much on being a musical, and they don't really serve much of a purpose.
Yeah, because the thing about the original, with the exception of one musical number, which I think is a pointless one in the entire movie, is that each musical number, in a sense, feels very much like its own. It has a purpose.
Yeah,
like it's moving in a direction. Like there's usually a musical number for each child that is getting themselves into trouble, and then there's a lesson to be learnt. Right at the end of it. And also each musical number has almost its own character. Like it's so vibrant in its own style. This one, honestly, I couldn't tell you a musical number from musical number apart in this.
Yeah.
They all had the same tone, and they all
I was gonna say that.
they weren't really sung by anyone that was particularly interesting.
Yeah.
Except for, I suppose, Wonka.
Yeah.
His musical numbers, I felt like, were the only ones that had a little bit of spark of creativity to them.
Yeah, but they're not even like interesting or nice to listen to kind of songs either. I don't think Timothy Chalamet is much of a singer. But yeah, like at least have them be, I guess, enjoyable in a way. They did just feel kind of like characters talking and kind of like a melody kind of rhythm to it. But yeah, no, otherwise I think the technical side of things was pretty good. I guess the visual effects, I think its budget was around 140, 145 from memory. I think it's perfectly good. At least by industry standards, I think it's fine. I think it was shot well. Sometimes camera was moving, too often and too fast, just spinning around the character. It's chill. Like, you got to take it easy. Maybe it was the fact that we were like a few meters away from the screen. But it felt a little bit intense at times. And yeah, the musical numbers, they didn't really do anything for me. Yeah. So, yeah.
And it wasn't really that funny as well. Like they were trying so hard to make you laugh. I think we discussed this before we came on. The main one was really Michael Key's character.
Yeah.
Like, he just pretty much got fat and fat, and they were just making subtle fat jokes, trying to make people laugh, but that wasn't funny. Like him trying to get out of a car or trying to stand up. It was just like, don't need that.
It was a lot of the humor just didn't work for me at all on any level.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's like I feel like by making the whole world sort of like whimsical, you make Willy Wonka seem less eccentric. The whole world and that everyone seems kind of like wacky and goofy.
Yeah.
Everyone, like even from the chocolatiers, the chocolate cartel to the to some of the more like other villainistic characters throughout it, to some of the allies of Wonka. They almost all have their own whimsical way about them, and it's like if everyone's whimsical, no one's whimsical, and nothing feels whimsical. Wonka doesn't feel particularly eccentric compared to these other chocolatiers.
Right. So would you rather a different take on this world where it's kind of more realistic and...
Yeah, because that's what the original was. It was a lot more realistic. People were just trying to get by. It was like almost like real life, basically. A lot of it was like newsreels, like about Wonka sending out golden tickets and stuff like that. So it was very much like built-in politics and people arguing and that sort of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Very, very realistic perspective of it. And then you go and it's this completely starkly different world when you got into the factory.
Yeah.
Everything is weird and whimsical and like creepy
That is true,
and scary on another level. And there's nothing creepy or scary or like particularly mysterious about Wonka in this either. He's just very like a very nice guy who's just trying to make his chocolate, and that's sort of it.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's true. In terms of Timothée Chalamet's performance, and I guess if we're going to compare, what do you think about his performance? Did he handle the kind of, I guess, tone and magic?
Yeah, I think he handled. I think he can play Wonka.
Yeah,
I just don't think he was given the Wonka that I wanted.
right.
You know, he played the Wonka that I don't particularly care for.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, I think that it would have been a much more interesting film if it was set in a different period, and maybe if Wonka he wasn't so black and white,
Right.
which is strange to me because I thought Warner Brothers was a little bit more daring than this. They usually are a bit more daring than this with their storytelling.
Yeah.
I mean, we just had Barbie, and it was a very daring blockbuster.
That's true.
So I don't know. I'm surprised at how cut and dry this feels like a Disney film to me.
It really does. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great way to put it. But yeah, no, as I said before any marketing came out, like I thought it would be kind of Warner Brothers daring blockbuster kind of stuff. But then the trailers came out, and I kind of knew the movie that we were in for.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, this is gonna appeal to everyone. Kind of.
Yeah.
Try to get some good money. Before we get to our scores and cap off this review, would you like to see any kind of other movies explore the Wonkaverse?
Wonkaverse.
That's a good name for it.
Probably the two ideas that you said.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
More so of him discovering his passion of chocolate and his magic and getting all these ingredients and the cacao beans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool concept, or even like starting up the chocolate factory for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I would really like to see the reasoning behind Wonka becoming such a recluse, because we see him open his chocolate factory eventually, right?
And then shuts it off to everyone.
And then shuts it off to everyone and closes gate.
Yeah.
And presumably because people were stealing his ideas and his ingredients or something. That's from the original movie.
Yeah.
And I really want to see like why he decided to become such a recluse, and maybe that's a reasoning why he's so weird at a later date and so bitter.
Yeah, that's true. I think, like I said before, this movie I think just was capturing the wrong era of Wonka.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's just kind of this middle ground, boring version of him. I'd rather the start or the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want the side of Wonka that makes me go, what is this guy's motivations?
Yeah.
I want that side of Wonka, the creepy side.
Yeah, but I do think the right pieces are in place here. They got a good director to create further movies if they want to do it. They got a great actor in Timothée Chalamet. I think they can do something special down the line. I just don't think this movie was it.
No.
But I will say, to anyone listening, if you do want to see this, I think it's a great family-friendly movie. A good Christmas movie as well.
Yeah.
It's just a good holiday movie. So I would recommend it on that basis. Just don't expect anything like super impressive about it. It's just one of your like good blockbusters out there.
Yeah.
That's how I would define it.
Yeah, I would agree to that. Yeah.
So scores. Who wants to kick us off? Out of 10, what would you grade the movie?
I would go with 5.5.
5.5. Not going to give it that fresh rating, eh?
Pardon?
Not going to give it that fresh rating?
Nah. I think it was just too safe, as we discussed, and the character of Wonka was a little bit boring, because he was the stuff that we've seen him. He's been really eccentric and stuff, and he just seemed far too safe for this. And the musical numbers didn't serve any purposes, and the humor was bland as well. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to go a flat 6. I do think this would deserve a fresh, but really only just. I think Paul King's sort of directing, is really holding it together. But I think again the story direction and it's what's the word? It's bravado. It's risk taking is just not there. It's not It's not taking any risk whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's really trying to play it as safe and warm as possible. And I think that's actually to its detriment, because I think Wonka is a brand or a franchise that personally I think thrives on weird, like truly weird, energy that you feel it, and a weird vibe when you watch it.
Yeah.
You feel almost a little uncomfortable when he's around. And I felt like when he was around, he was like the nicest human ever. Like he was the most perfect person.
Yeah.
And to me, that's not Wonka. Wonka is you're around him and you don't know what to say and you don't know what to feel.
Yeah. No, pretty spot on there.
Yeah.
For me, yeah, I'm right with you there. A 6 out of 10. It's just in the realm of fresh for me. And I think that's mainly due to, the director capturing the tone and the magic quite nicely. You can still have a lot of fun with this, but yeah, the writing I think is very good. And yeah, just the overall story direction I think needs to be dramatically improved.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's our review for Wonka. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let us know if you're going to go see it. And if you have seen it, be sure to jump on over to the comments section or find us at Twitter or YouTube at Movie Gains. Come discuss with us whatever you thought, and we can discuss it. If you liked Hugh Grant as an Oompa Loompa, don't bother messaging us that, because we'll disagree with you. There will be no argument because we're right. Otherwise, you guys have a great rest of your day. Remember, you can jump onto moviegames.com for all of our content there. We do box office predictions. We do award seasons predictions, physical media, all that kind of stuff. Have a good day, everyone. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Bye-bye.